Well, we're out for a walk again. It's the end of December. Yeah, that's snow on the ground. But right now it's +1 right here. Yeah, you know my little talk about frostbite and how that happens in this part of the world. These are the days that it does happen. Because, sometime after lunch, we're supposed to get +5, maybe even +8, and up to 15 millimeters of rain. And then tomorrow's forecasted daytime high, -11 in less than 24 hours. And when you're in the military, you can't escape. You got to live out here. And when you're wearing the gear that's designed for -50 and it starts to rain, the best you can hope for is to get under a tree maybe, or in your overhead protection if you're actually underground. But it's a challenging way to live. Here's a little reminder for some of my idiot friends. You know what I'm talking about. So today I'm wearing these gloves right here. They're $1.99 at Deals. My advice, if you buy them, buy 10 of them, because they're not real super good quality. But they're equivalent to what we used to call anti-contact gloves, which was a cotton glove that had little plastic rubber beads all glued on the palm, just like these ones, right? And we used to wear them underneath our Arctic mittens. Yeah, Arctic mittens. Those are my commercial equivalent of Arctic mittens. I wear them when I'm running the tractor on the cold days. And if you'll notice, attached to them is a brightly colored piece of string, aptly known as the idiot string. And it's not because all my army buddies were idiots. It's because we were smarter than the average bear. And we forget that. I remember as a kid, everybody's grandmother used to knit them mittens for Christmas. Yep. And as soon as you got out the door, you'd cut them off. Because you thought it was, for babies to have strings on your mittens. Truth of the matter is, for grown men in harsh environments, strings on your mittens are a good idea. Because when it's -35 and you got to fuel the generator, you probably can't do it with your Arctic mittens on. And you don't want to leave your skin exposed to the extreme cold, especially if you're handling fuel. Oh, and what else? Yeah, let's say you're manning the machine gun trench and all of a sudden you're in contact and you got to operate that machine gun. It doesn't work very well with these huge honking Arctic mittens on with the snot wipers on the backside. Yeah, that's what they were, snot wipers. Yes, you can say what you want about it, but it's how we lived and how we got by. Now, having said that, in this part of the world, I wear those quasi-Arctic mittens when I'm operating the tractor in the really cold days. The rest of the time, because we have these fluctuations in weather here during the winter months, I wear a pair of leather gloves, like a Watson's Range Rider. I get them as big as I can, and I waterproof the daylights out of them. And then I wear a cotton, get them at Walmart, one size fits all knitted gloves inside them. And again, in this environment, if it rains, because it does in this time of year sometimes, and you get wet, you have 10 pair of those $1.99 one size fits all knitted gloves. You can keep swapping them out, keep your hands dry and warm. You can wring the water out of the leather ones if they finally get wet through, okay? And you can always survive it, and they'll still bleed a little bit of water into the knitted mitten inside, but you can last quite a long time out here in this weather with, a half dozen of those, and they weigh nothing and take up no space. But that's how I operate here. You can't operate a firearm out here if it's -15 with your bare hands. And as I was teaching Niner Zulu yesterday, you can't operate a firearm out here even at -4. You got those big, puffy, super thick Nito gloves that are got, what do they call them? Hot paws and thermals and all that kind of stuff. You can't operate a firearm with those on. You can't. So that's how we did it in the Army world. Okay. Yeah, there are some times but the idiot strings, because you were going to be tired and hungry and cold, and you would tend to be not necessarily fully cognizant, and you would lay down your Arctic mittens after fueling the generator and then forget to pick one up and carry on with the rest of your day. And that could be life-threatening out here. That's why us Army guys, grown men, had idiot strings. Just like this, okay? Just like this, ran it through the jacket so you could slide those mittens off and not lose them and not suffer because you lost them. Just a little bit of wisdom from the world of the green stuff. And yes, the anti-contact gloves are green because we know everything in the Army that's ODK green is bulletproof by design. Or at least you'll think that after a while. In any case, it's almost New Year's, and it is now officially raining. I can see the water forming on my phone. You guys have a happy New Year and stay safe.